If you want to make your job search process structured, productive, and successful, you gotta track the data. Otherwise, everything's gonna turn into complete mess, you're gonna lose motivation and fail. And yes, the job search process for developers is hard. But in this video, I'll simplify this process for you, give you the exact template that you can use to track your job search data, be productive, consistent, and eventually land a job in IT. Let's begin. And you're gonna ask me, Andrew, why do I need to track my job applications? Why can't I just go and apply everywhere to as many companies as I could? And you can do that. It might even work, but it will work only if everything about your portfolio, resume, and job search strategy is 100% perfect. And practice shows that most of people mess up at least one of those things. By tracking the data properly, you'll be able to pretty quickly identify what is wrong with your job search strategy, do the adjustment, and win. Because the best way to make decisions is to make them based on data. That's, by the way, how most of the companies operate. Let's say Netflix wants to increase their subscription price from $9.99 to $17.99. In that case, they will not just go to the website and increase it, no, they'll probably run a test. With this test, they will be able to analyze how the price change can affect conversion rates. It's usually called A/B test because you have basically two variants. A, it's called control, where you basically have everything what you have right now, and B is the change that you want to test. When they have two variants, they can just split the traffic and 50% of people will still see the old price, but other 50% of people will see the new price. They'll run this test for a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months, and after running it, they'll analyze the data. Let's say that with the price $9.99, out of 100 people who visited the website, 20 people has subscribed. But out of 100 people who visited the website and saw the price of $17.99, only 8 people has subscribed. Let's do a quick math here and here. And after doing it, we can see that out of 100 people who visited the website with the price $9.99, the Netflix has made $199.8. And with the price $17.99, out of 100 visitors, the Netflix has made just $143.92. It means that changing the price from $9.99 to $17.99 is a bad decision, and Netflix gonna actually start losing money if they make that decision. Of course, it's a simplified example, and you should also pay attention to profitability and a lot of other numbers, but you got the idea. And those huge companies are pretty smart about making their decisions, so you can learn from them and apply a similar approach while making your own decision during your job search process. So instead of just making random decisions based on how you feel, you can track the data and make decisions based on your own numbers. And for that, I prepared a free template for you. Let's cover that. All right. Here I got the template for you in the Google Sheets. Don't mind the color selection here because I'm a developer, not a designer. You can get this template by clicking the link in the description. After opening it, you need to press your file and make a copy because here you'll not be able to edit it. Clicking on this button will create a copy of this template on your own account, so your data will be secure and stored in your own Google account. And after that, you'll be able to edit it. Now let's cover how to use it to be efficient. First of all, we got the page called All Applications here. This is basically your main page where you're going to be saving every single application that you apply to. So let's say you found this position for experienced front-end developer and you want to apply here. What you do, first of all, is you copy this link and you paste the link to this job post here inside of our tracker. As a date applied, you select the current date, then you copy the title, just so you know the title of the position you applied to, and the company name, so in our case is that. Let's copy that and paste here. And the last thing you need to fill out here is the version of your CV that you used for this application. What it means is that in good job search strategy, you should have from 2 to maybe even 10 different versions of your resume that you use based on different positions. When you apply to the front-end developer position, you should name yourself as a front-end developer, you should highlight your knowledge and your projects and your experience in React. But if you're going to be applying for mobile developer position, you should highlight React Native as your main role, as your main position, highlight your experience there, your knowledge, your skills, libraries that you used, and so on and so on. Basically, you know both things, but if you're going to use the same CV that mentions both things in both of the resumes, most likely you're not going to look as a perfect fit in both. But if you're going to be tailoring your resume based on position and adjusting technologies, skills, experience, to become a better match for this position, your chances to get a reply are going to be much higher. Another example, let's say you apply for the role that requires good knowledge of MUI, but you don't know MUI, you haven't worked with that. What you can do is that you can add this technology to your resume because it's pretty much required in that position, but MUI is a UI library that is not that hard to learn, especially if you already know one of the UI libraries. You can apply with it now and then just spend a couple of days to learn it well for the interview. Of course, on the interview, you don't have to say that you have commercial experience. You can say that you use it like in a small own project. That's basically true because before the interview, you prepared, you learned how to use it, and you use it in like your own small pet project to practice with. So you're going to be 100% completely honest with the company and with the recruiter. So here, let's say as the CV version, let's say front end plus MUI. The next sheet that I wanted to cover in this template is application statistics. Important applications we're going to cover in the end. So here you're basically going to see all of your statistics from your applications. And you don't need to modify anything here because everything there will be updated automatically. Here you basically have three main blocks of statistics. The first one is basically daily statistics. So here you'll be able to see how many times you applied on every single day when you were applying. Here you'll see your weekly statistics. So how many times you applied every single week. Week count starts from Mondays. And here you'll see your total statistics over the whole time period that you have been applying and last time when you applied. So let's say that today we applied for this position and let's copy that. And let's say that today we applied for another company too. And let's say that last week we applied to yet another company. Let's say here on 19th. Now, if you're going to go to application statistics, you'll see that basically today you applied 2 times and on the last week you applied 1 time on that specific date. And here in total, you applied 3 times. Pretty simple. But it's important not to just look at those numbers, but pay attention to them and adjust your approach based on those numbers. What's important here is to be consistent with your approach and apply like a robot. Since to be more effective, you're going to be adjusting your resume and adjusting your cover letters, approaches, emails, and maybe even making every application personalized. You'll not be able to apply to hundreds of positions every single day. That's why it's okay if here on daily application statistics, you're going to have not huge numbers. But on the weekly basis, you should first of all try to be consistent and have similar amount of applications every single week. And if you're going to see that every week you apply less and less, you're probably losing motivation and the chances to get a job are decreasing because you're basically applying less. So you should always try to keep numbers here in applications count per week pretty stable. All right, now let's talk about important applications. So what are important applications? Those are basically applications that you want to treat slightly differently because there your chances of getting the job are higher. In important applications section, we're going to be putting applications to companies that actually reply to you. So let's say this company actually replied to you and invited you, let's say for the second stage of interview. In that case, what you need to do is to first of all, copy all of those rows from the application. Let's copy that so we don't have to fill it out again. Let's now move on to our important application section. And here, let's clean it up, the sample data, and let's paste this application that I've just copied from the first sheet. So same company, same position, same link, same date applied, same CV version. But now here we've got a couple of extra rows that we want to fill out. So the first one is full job description. And you're gonna ask me, why do I need to fill out those things if I have this link, which I can just open and check it out there? The reason why you need to save this data here is because usually when company starts interview process with a lot of candidates, they might remove this job posting to basically not receive anyone else and to focus on interviewing every candidate that applied. So there is a chance that this link won't work anymore. But before the interview, you need to know as many things as possible about the salary, about the job description, about what they want from you to prepare well. And if you won't gonna have this data, you'll prepare bad and not gonna land the interview. So what we want to do here is to spend literally 15 seconds to fill out all of the data. So let's say here's the full job description. You just copy that and just paste it here. Here we can paste the salary range. So let's say the salary range for this position is that. Let's paste it here. Contact email is basically the email of the person who replied to you. So let's say atest.com. For the status, we're going to cover it in a second. And notes are going to be every notes and every details that you want to remember about this job application. So now you can close it. Even if they're gonna remove this job application, you'll still know all of the data, all of the requirements, the salary range to use in your future interview preparations and salary negotiations. And here, in that way, you're gonna be saving every single application that replied to you. Now let's talk about status. So usually the job application process looks like that. You apply for the company and wait for the reply. As soon as they reply to you, they usually ask you a couple of follow-up questions and ask for the time to schedule an interview. That's why the initial status here is a required reply. So since they replied to you, you have to reply them back. Now, after you reply to them, you're waiting for a reply from them so they can confirm the interview or the next steps. Now they're gonna probably schedule a meeting with you. So you can select that waiting for the meeting status here. Sometimes this meeting might be on the next day, but sometimes it might be even on the next month. After the meeting, you usually wait for the next steps and follow-up email. And if they ghost you and don't reply, you change the status for kind of future follow-up. So you need to get back to them to ask for the status and ask for the feedback. So if they reject you or if they ghost you, you need to at least know the reason so you can improve, fix your mistakes, and get better for the next time. So future follow-up means that you should follow up with them, send them as many emails as gonna be needed. Sometimes it's 1, sometimes 2, sometimes even 3 to get the final response from them. Usually if they ghost you, it means that you're gonna probably be rejected, so don't expect anything. But sometimes it may even just forget about you, and by reminding about yourself, actually push the things and get the job, but the chance of that is quite low, and if they're ghosting you, it's probably the rejected position, but you still have to send them a couple of emails to find out why they rejected you. Because you need to know why to improve yourself and to be able to pass the interview successfully next time. Then we have a couple of different rejection statuses. The first one is rejected resume. It means that although they replied to you, this reply was kind of automatic rejection. So they probably didn't like your resume and they just rejected it like immediately automatic. So you just select rejected resume status here. Once again, reminding that those are going to be only companies that actually replied to you. So let's say you applied to like 10 companies. From these 10 companies, 3 companies rejected your resume. Those 3 companies are actually companies that replied to you. Although they rejected you immediately, they still replied to you. So you need to save them to this spreadsheet so you can count how many rejected your resume. All companies that just didn't reply you at all, you can ignore them and not count them into statistics because they like completely ignored you. They probably haven't even noticed that you applied. So that's completely fine. We won't be counting them. The next rejection status is failed soft interview. So usually soft interview is the interview with an HR or hiring manager or maybe even developer, but without technical questions. So here you might be rejected by a lot of different reasons, like wrong company fit, wrong culture fit, or they just didn't like you. That also happens. So it means that you had like at least one interview with them. Maybe it was short 15 minutes soft skills interview. Sometimes soft skills interview can last like for an hour or even more. But if you got rejected here, you just select failed soft interview. If you're going to pass soft interview, most likely you're going to have a technical interview with the actual developer. And if you're going to fail it, you can select here failed technical interview. And finally, the most satisfying status that you can ever select here and that you're going to probably select just like once, because after you're going to get the job, you probably won't need this tracker anymore, but it will be super nice. You can even record yourself selecting the status. So that's going to be a moment of your win, a moment of your success. And this is the best feeling and the best click that you ever made in your life. If you're going to pass the technical interview and going to get the offer, you can select this option and celebrate you getting your job in IT. And cool thing about this important application tracker is that here you're going to have a count of every single status that you ever had. And after updating the status for different meetings, you'll see numbers automatically updating here, right here. So let's say you got like 2 rejected resumes and 2 failed soft interviews. And you can use those numbers to track what exactly you need to change about your job search approach. First of all, before you're going to apply to at least 100 companies, you should not be changing anything because making decisions based on such a small amount of application, probably not the best idea. So you should aim for at least 100, maybe 50 to 100 applications. So after the number in total applications is going to be, let's say at least 50 here, now you can start looking at the data and make decisions based on that. If from those 50 to 100 applications, you haven't even received any rejections, it means that you're doing something wrong and you need to completely change your application approach. But this is very unlikely. Most likely from these 100 applications, you're going to at least get some resume rejections. So your number here, rejected resume, is going to be maybe like 3, 5, 10, whatever. So if here the number is going to be like, let's say 10, and in all other statuses, the number is going to be 0, it means that something is wrong with your portfolio and resume, and you need to significantly rework it. And we already covered how to make an amazing resume. After improving your resume, your portfolio, it's time to start applying again and apply again to like, let's say 50 to 100 companies. And after that, if you're still getting rejected on the resume level, it means that you need to improve your portfolio and resume once again. At a certain point, you're going to start getting more invitations to interviews, to calls, and so on and so on. So let's say this number is going to start to grow and you're going to be failing soft skills interviews. It means that you need to improve your soft skills, watch a couple of guides, and get better with that. And finally, at some time, you're gonna start passing soft skills interviews, but you're gonna be failing technical interviews. So you're gonna need to ask for the feedback after every single interview to improve, and fix every single thing that you failed and that you didn't know. And after some time, you're gonna finally be able to get your first offer and get your first job. I definitely recommend using this template every time when you search for the job because first of all, it will allow you to save in important information that will help you to negotiate the salary and prepare for the interviews better. And second of all, you will be more structured, more productive, know your numbers, and you're gonna know what decisions to make. If you're gonna start tracking your job search applications, you'll see what part of your job search strategy isn't working well. Quite often the problem is in your resume. That's why here I made a full complete guide how to create an amazing resume and even revealed my own resume that helped me to get my 10K per month developer job. So see you there.